That's how we've done it in the past.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we're live yet. Are we? Good. Are we live? Great. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, April 16th. Thank you so much for being here. Can I get a motion to call us back into public session? Ilana, motion made by Ilana, seconded by Bill R. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great, 7-0. Thank you. So welcome, everyone. We're so excited that you are all here tonight. Thank you to everyone who was able to arrive for our sustainability celebration. It was so amazing to see our students and community members who are all really committed to helping us think about our environment and sustainability. And so thank you for everyone who was a part of organizing that and being here. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. We have a very packed agenda. We also have our representatives from Hazard, Young, and TIA to talk about the superintendent search. And we have one sort of administrative task in terms of the ballot for the upcoming board election and budget vote. So without further ado, can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. So prior to the presentations, we do have board committee reports, but if it's okay, I'd like to ask the board that we move that to after the committee reports. We do have some students here, so I'd love to try to get through the agenda so that we can, get them home as early as possible. But we are going to begin with a report from Shaina.
Hello everyone, I hope we're doing well. We started this month off with a nice spring break for our students and staff to reset and prepare for the last couple of months of our school year, which is crazy to think about, but we're in high spirits in each of our schools as we came back and experienced the solar eclipse the very next day, which was a great event in each of our schools. And with the weather getting warmer, we are continuing to swiftly move through the year. Katona Lewisboro has another exciting month ahead with a series of spring concerts, school-wide activities, and much more. So on that note, I'll move into Campus Congress first. We've mostly been keeping up with our meetings in committees and continuing plans to work on some proposals that have been previously passed in the past few months. And we recently had our executive board elections for the 2024 to 2025 school year, which is also crazy that we're starting to think about that. But we elected our new board and our new Board of Ed representative, Ian Paz. I think I saw him. Yeah, he's right there. So Ian and I headed the curriculum committee last year. He's a great all-around person, very committed, and I'm so glad that he'll be taking over after me in July. And moving into the high school, so we started out our spring concert series with the orchestra concert yesterday, and we just had our sustainability celebration a few minutes ago. I want to thank everyone that presented their work on sustainability and methods for improving our earth. All of the work that I saw out there was incredible, so that was great. And upcoming, we also have our high school science research symposium this Thursday, April 18th at 6:30 in the auditorium. All of the students have put in a great effort from the sophomore to the senior levels to present their proposed and current research, and I would greatly encourage everyone to go. On April 24th, there's a vocal jazz concert at 7 p.m. in the theater. On the 25th, there will be a music tech showcase for grades 6 through 12 at 7 p.m. And also on the 26th, the high school will have their third annual J-Fest, honoring our spring athletes in the spring pep rally, followed by many class activities, music on the front lawn, art, and much more, including many sports games on the 27th. And on April 29th, Senior Week begins, which I'm personally greatly looking forward to, and to celebrate all of our other seniors as well. At the middle school on April 12th, middle schoolers had an 8th grade social to dance, celebrate, and connect. And the KLSD Green Team also were featured at our sustainability event, with many middle schoolers holding a John Jay gear and wear swap for sustainable clothing practices. Also on April 19th, the middle schoolers have the opportunity to do yoga with Miss Burns at recess as part of their ongoing wellness activities. And on the 25th, there will be an 8th graders versus teachers basketball game. Moving into KES, on Wednesday the 24th, KES will celebrate their Administrative Professional Appreciation Day to thank all of their amazing faculty that helps to keep the school running. And on the 25th, there will be a 5th grade parent orientation at 6:30 p.m. at the middle school. And on Friday the 26th, 6th grade counselors will visit KES and meet with 5th grade students to start thinking about next year, which also a little crazy. And also on the 26th, KES will hold their production of Lion King Jr. at 5:30 and 7 p.m. Also in the month of April, KES has placed focus on family diversity, understanding that each family brings its own set of values, traditions, and experiences, shaping the identity and perspective of its members. And this month, students watch Good Morning KES, a presentation about family diversity, and they will later decorate a bulletin board celebrating the wide array of families that make up KES. Moving into Increase Miller, on Wednesday, April 24th, they will also have an Administrative Professional Appreciation Day. And similarly, they will have a 5th grade parent meeting on the 25th. And on the 26th, there will be sharing assemblies and celebration of Arbor Day. And at Increase Miller, April is the power of yet. This month's community read at Increase Miller is The Magical Yet by Angela Dieterlisi. So this picture book reminds students that we all have things we haven't learned yet. And the book encourages resiliency and inspires hope in our young and most curious learners. Moving into Meadow Pond, we again have many similar connective activities. On the 24th, there is an Administrative Professional Appreciation Day, and the counselors will visit the 5th graders at Meadow Pond as well. And then on April 25th, the 5th grade will hold a cloud in a bottle investigation. And on the 26th, there will be a 2nd grade insect museum. And on April 29th, there will be a kindergarten BOCES program on weather. So there are many fun activities upcoming in each of our schools, with more opportunities to grow our learning and connections as we head into these last few months of school. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shaina. It's always so great to hear about everything that's happening. Thank you for being so well prepared as usual. And we're looking forward to hearing more from you, and congratulations on rounding the sort of last few months of your senior year. It's a very exciting time, and welcome to Ian. We're looking forward to having you join us. I don't know if there's any board announcements.
Just quickly, congratulations to the Oompa Loompas and the entire cast and crew of Wonka, the musical. And I think it was Mr. Frisch and Mr. Weiss, and I'm sorry, the program was accessed through a QR code, so I can't pull up all of the people to thank, but it was an amazing production with so many students on stage and involved in the cast and crew. And so congratulations to our middle school students and staff who were involved. And thank you to the Meadow Pond teachers and to Ashlyn Field, who graciously invited us into their classrooms and hallways. And I don't know if anybody else wants to say another word or two, but we had a wonderful tour today.
Yeah, the building is in great shape. It was a fun place to be. A lot of exciting things going on there, and just a really sense of family that they're growing now. So it was a great visit today. And the play was great too. And again, the number of kids that came out to support their peers, it was almost half the audience was students coming out the night that we went. So it was great.
My turn? Thank you. As the superintendent, I'm sometimes lucky enough to attend some of our student events away from campus. And last week, I was really lucky to attend a couple of just lovely events. I wanted to mention them tonight. At Meadow Pond, actually, over the last few months, our 4th graders have been working with theater professionals from a local theater company on their playwriting. And at the culmination of this event, 3 of the students' plays were selected to be produced at the local theater by the actors from the theater. So I got to go and watch. Our students were in the audience, and professional actors put on 3 of their one-act plays, and they were phenomenal, really good. So congratulations to Ayla Halen, Jack Sanford, and Noah Pearson, whose plays were produced, and I know all the other fourth graders wrote wonderful plays also. So that was a treat. And then equally a treat, one of the evenings last week, I attend the Northern Westchester Hospital President's Council on a sort of periodic basis. And then at the same time, they have the Northern Westchester Hospital President's Junior Leadership Council. And last week was the annual event where they invite the students to come and share their work with us. There are 3 John Jay students who, along with students from a number of other school districts in the region, make up this leadership council. They take on a project each year. They do phenomenal work. This year, their focus is, not surprisingly, on the issue of adolescent mental health. They're working really hard to make an impact in that area. So I want to shout out to Austin Oman, Matt Denker, and Alice Kai. It was a pleasure to have dinner with them and see their phenomenal work that they do. So congratulations, all the students working on that. And then I'll just be brief on a couple other things that I don't think Shina mentioned. She covered almost all the other topics that I was going to touch on. Thank you again, Shina. Tomorrow night, we have a learning cafe on the topic we're calling it Considering the Phone-Based Childhood, which comes from a recent article by Jonathan Haidt, an author who has a recent book out on a similar issue, on the issue of the anxious childhood. We've had a really phenomenal response in terms of people signing up to come to tomorrow's cafe, so we are expecting a very full house in the middle school cafeteria tomorrow night, and we're looking forward to it. Looking ahead, I'm just going to skip over a number of things. And I'll just mention that yesterday, Governor Hochul announced a conceptual framework for the state's budget this year. That tells us that it won't be too much longer till we have an actual budget. There are still some details worked out. We don't have details on state aid yet, but we think it'll come relatively soon.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You.
So that brings us, again, I'm going to do the board committee reports later. It brings us to item 10.01, which is the opportunity for us to hear about some of the work of our superintendent search firm. And Debbie Razis and Sue Guiney are here, so please join us. And they're going to present the superintendent profile and tell us a little bit about that process.
So thank you very much. We're very happy to be here. And you know, it's wonderful to hear everything that's going on in the schools. Shana, thank you so much for doing that. You are a unique community. When we hear all that's going on, and in so many different areas in terms of science and literacy with the plays and community-minded events, you are a wonderful community, and it is very exciting to present what's happening at Katona-Lewisboro to some really, I think you're going to find very interesting candidates. So thank you again, and thank you for so many of you who we've already met that took the time to meet with us. We really appreciate it. We met individually with every board member, and we met individually or in small groups with every administrator, with all the administrators, and then with your incredible students, who were phenomenal and were so articulate and so insightful. It was really a pleasure. So you can see all the different groups that we met with. That's okay. We don't need to read it. And so you can see all the different groups we met with them. And then we also had 2 Zoom community forums. So we met with quite a few different people, and it was very informative. I will tell you, this leadership profile report is about 27 pages. We're going to go through it very briefly tonight and summarize it. But I think, as a lot of you know, summary is not the same as reading it yourself. And so we hope that all of you will really take the time to read it. It'd probably be a great way to go to sleep at night. And so, but please do read it, because we hope that you all see the comments that you told us about, because this is really what we use to recruit people, to find the people that that the majority of people really told us is what they're looking for in the next superintendent, and as well as the strengths and issues in the district. So we can't thank you enough again for all the time that you gave to us. You can see these are the amount of people that we met with, 114 over several weeks, and again, that's a very good number. And again, as I said, the students, not that I want to be prejudiced anyway, but I will tell you that the students were the highlight. They were just amazing. And again, thank you to all of the people who spent time meeting with us. It was around 45 minutes to an hour, and we really, really appreciated it. So we asked everybody the same 3 questions. What do you see as the strengths of the district? What do you see as the greatest challenges facing the district in the next few years? And what characteristics and areas of expertise would you like to see in the next superintendent? And again, this is a summary. This is our summary. So we hope that you will read the whole report and hear your comments in it. So in terms of the strengths of the district, academic excellence, people talked about that, about all the opportunities that students have, that it's vigorous coursework, that students are well prepared for college. And then a caring community. So let's just talk about that for a minute, because you really are a caring community, and it's not to be taken for granted. You're a nurturing community, and again, that is also something that shouldn't be taken for granted. That your parents and PTOs are committed to making this a successful community and a wonderful experience for your children. I'm sorry, I have allergies that are about to do me in. There is an emphasis on the mental health of students, which is what you also talked about, particularly after COVID, and that the facilities are open to the entire community, which we could certainly hear. The culture of thoughtful, deliberate listening. Students feel that they are being heard. This is not, again, to be taken for granted. We very rarely hear that. Students are encouraged to take initiative. There is a collaboration, a collaborative atmosphere with a superintendent who listens to and hears people. Again, something we don't usually hear. Highly qualified and committed administrators, faculty, and staff. Students talk about faculty and staff who truly care about them and want to help. Teachers know their students. Students value the relationship with their teachers. Faculty and staff are committed to making this the best experience for each and every student. Students are engaged and eager to learn. Students are community-minded. Again, we heard that, we see it, we saw it tonight. They come to learn. They're well-rounded and engaged. Then in terms of challenges, issues, concerns, other people said to us, you need to view this as opportunities. So we will take that as opportunities for the next superintendent. We put the first 3 really together to assess instruction, looking at research-based practices, alignment and consistency for all students in the district, to develop systems to address the structures and functions of departments and schools in the district, and to establish a strategic roadmap that defines district priorities that are aligned to the district vision and mission. The main words here, the things that really need to be taken away from this are systems, alignment, and consistency. Those were the 3 things that I think pull all of this together. You need to determine which initiatives are mission priorities and which are mission critical, and also look at a strategic plan in the areas of literacy and STEM, and particularly in terms of how professional development helps these all to be successful. In special education, equitable access to resources people talked about across the district, and a need for, again, systems, structures, and a vision. And then to encourage a culture of innovation in the classrooms, which it sounds like you're certainly doing, and to continue with that, to define clear lines of communication, to delineate specific roles of the central office administrators. And we thought that one was particularly one that needs to be looked at. And then the last bullet, oversee the upcoming $49.5 million capital budget beginning in September of 2024. And the community is concerned about, or some people in the community are concerned about, the return on investment and the equity among the schools. And the characteristics. So let's just talk about the characteristics. And usually we don't go back and talk about the current superintendent, but I think there's no way that you cannot say people talked about over and over again the calm, reassuring manner of your current superintendent, and how he also hears what people are saying, and people are looking for that in the next superintendent. People are looking for a strategic thinker, which when you go back to here, the challenge is that is no surprise, they match up, and accessible and visible and approachable. I don't know a superintendent that's worth their salt, that isn't accessible, approachable, and visible, and we would certainly be looking for that. And you look for that in terms of what they are doing currently, where they are. And we have lots of ways of listening for that without actually asking them if they're visible, approachable, and accessible, because who would say that they aren't? But there are lots of ways when you're talking to people to find that out, and that's something we know is very important. An excellent listener and communicator, certainly an instructional leader. You're definitely looking for an instructional leader, and we will focus on that. A mentor to your central office administrators, many of who are in new roles, and so they want a superintendent who can mentor them, open to hearing, respectful of people with opposing views, and make decisions in a timely manner and explain the reason behind the decisions. Reasonable, that's one of my favorite, and positively student focused. Okay.
So our conversations provide information about the story of what we've heard, and the survey results provide us with some more quantitative data about people's responses and what they were thinking. So the survey was opened on March 13th, and it was open through April 12th, which was right after we completed our community forums. The survey was online, and it was anonymous, and all of the survey results were tabulated by Hazard Youngity and Associates in the main office in Illinois. So lest you were thinking that Debbie and I were up at night tabulating all of those surveys, we weren't. The survey was completed by 410 respondents, and the only identifying information on the survey was a self-selected category of the respondent. And there were 6 categories that were included: administrator, teacher, staff, parents or guardian of current students, community members with no children in the schools, and students. And you can see from the numbers on the screen that the largest group of respondents, overwhelmingly the largest group of respondents, were parents and guardians of current students, and they made up 72.7% of the total. The second largest group of respondents were community members at 16.3%, and then the third largest group of respondents to the survey were teachers at 7%. Now, the survey followed a specific methodology, and it was created by HYA as a valid and reliable instrument, and it was divided into 2 separate parts. The first part provided information about district performance, and the second part of the survey spoke about the desired characteristics in your next superintendent. And the results of the survey were viewed through 4 lenses based on HYA's research related to superintendent leadership standards. And those lenses were vision and values, teaching and learning, community engagement, and management. The questions in the first part of the survey were presented in a Likert scale format, and that means that respondents had to select a number 1 meant they strongly disagreed with the statement, all the way up to a number 5, meaning they strongly agreed with the statement. And each statement was connected to one of those 4 leadership standards. And the results in this first portion of the survey, talking about the district's strengths, reflected the percentage of respondents who selected either agree or strongly agree with the statement presented. Based on that, these were the 5 perceived strengths of the Katona-Lewisboro School District. So they are that district schools are safe, technology is integrated into the classroom, facilities are well maintained, district technology infrastructure is sufficient to support the use of technology in the classroom, and students are on track to be ready for the next grade and ultimately college and career ready. And the letters that are in parentheses after each statement on the screen show the statement's alignment to those leadership standards. And it's worth noting that the district's strengths fall into 2 of the leadership standards: teaching and learning and management. These strengths are aligned to what we heard through our conversations, and it was very evident in the clear focus on academic excellence, that students come to school engaged and eager to learn. And it speaks to the quality and the commitment of the Board of Education and the district team, and the overall thoughtful culture that drives the day-to-day operations of the Katona-Lewisboro schools. The complete item analysis of this part of the survey is available in the full survey report, and that'll be made available to you as well. So we encourage you to read that also if you're having a tough time falling asleep, I should say, some of the numbers. And the item analysis shows what percentage of each individual identified group agreed and strongly agreed with the statement about the district, as well as the overall percentage of respondents who agreed and strongly agreed. So it's really digging into this data, and in particular looking at the responses of the largest responding group, the parents and guardians with children in the schools. Might be something you'd like to look into, and you'll see that you'll see the specific areas that parents and guardians feel stronger and are less supportive of, and you may be curious to learn more. Also, you should make note that only one student identified and responded to the survey, and that one person's responses, while that's valid for that one person, it has to be taken into context as only one person's perspective. So in the next section of the survey, respondents were asked to select 4 statements that were most important in selecting the new superintendent. And as you can see, the leadership standards that are considered most important are vision and values, management, and community engagement. 4 of the 6 stakeholder groups selected provide transparent communication as one of the top characteristics for the next superintendent. And that was 44% of the total number of individuals who answered this part of the survey. 4 of the 6 stakeholder groups, representing 40% of the total respondents, selected foster a positive professional climate of mutual trust and respect among faculty, staff, and administrators as a top-rated characteristic. 2 of the 6 stakeholder groups, also representing 40% of the total, selected establish a culture of high expectations for all students and personnel. And 4 out of the 6 stakeholder groups, representing another 40% of the respondents, selected recruit, employ, and retain effective personnel throughout the district and its schools. And finally, 2 out of the 6 groups, representing a total of 38% of the respondents selected, demonstrated deep understanding of educational research and emerging best practices and implementation strategies. These top-rated characteristics that are presented through the survey are in the community engagement, vision, and values and management categories, and there is alignment with the challenges of looking at research-based best practices and developing systems and a strategic roadmap in the district, as well as alignment with the characteristics of being an excellent listener, communicator, a strategic systems thinker, a mentor, and being able to maintain a calm and welcoming culture and climate where everyone feels that they belong. Again, the complete analysis of all the groups and the disaggregated group responses, in addition to the totals, is available in the survey report. And it's all very helpful information in guiding what can be fascinating conversations in the future. So compiling and reviewing the information that has been collected and presented from the focus groups and the interviews, along with the survey results, we put together the desired characteristics of the next Katona-Lewisboro superintendent, and we present these to the Board of Education for review and discussion. So as you see here, after seeking input from the board members, parents, staff, students, and the community, the Katona-Lewisboro Board of Education seeks a strong strategic thinker who addresses challenges and issues calmly, respectfully, and is open to hearing opposing views, assesses instruction through the lens of research-based best practices to align and provide a consistent educational experience for all students across the district, develops systems to address the structures and functions of departments and schools in the district, guides the district in defining its priorities, and collaboratively develops a roadmap to assist the district in achieving its mission and vision, is experienced with capital projects, is an experienced central office leader with a proven track record of success. And of course, your successful candidate will be certified as a superintendent or capable of gaining certification in New York State and will demonstrate a sincere commitment to the long-term success and well-being of the district. So now that we've completed this portion of the search process and have presented this to the Board of Education, what comes next? Well, Debbie and I are aggressive recruiters, and we've already been doing some outreach to individuals. We're making those initial phone calls and contacts to potential candidates through national and local networks. And so if you just imagine for a minute the image of a funnel with a wide top and a narrow bottom. And we are going to speak with and look at as many individuals as possible who are potential candidates for your superintendent. We speak with colleagues in and around the area, and we look at experienced individuals, like we said, with a proven track record of success. We follow up on referrals, and we thank all of you. Many of you gave us great names and great referrals to follow up on, and we've been doing that work. Advertising is going on the HYA website, as well as in major online educational publications, including the American Association of School Administrators, the National Alliance of Black School Educators, the Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents, NISCUS, the New York State Council of School Superintendents, and school superintendent associations in New Jersey and in Connecticut as bordering states. We call and have conversations with potential candidates, and both of us meet with those candidates either in person or via Zoom. And Zoom's been great for reaching some candidates who live at a distance. We verify credentials and experiences. We definitely, Google them. We take a look on the internet to see if we see any news, good or bad, about them. We present a slate of the best candidates to the Board of Education for them to meet. And as a reminder, this is a confidential search, which means that only the Board of Education will be interviewing candidates. And you can understand that as these candidates may be sitting superintendents or sitting administrators in a district, they'd prefer not to have their current Board of Education know that they have their eye on Katona-Lewisboro. The process continues as the board interviews the candidates, background and due diligence checks are done, contract negotiations occur, and finally there'll be an announcement of a selected finalist as your next superintendent. And we anticipate that this will be happening closer to the end of the school year, early summer. And while the process is definitely very important, and what's most important is that the Board of Education selects the person who is the best fit for your school district. That is really our ultimate goal. With the characteristics that we have in hand, we're moving into that more narrow part of the funnel, and we're in the process now of starting to prepare the slate for your Board of Education. And we anticipate that it's going to be a slate of excellent candidates. There's a lot of interest in Katona-Lewisboro. You're a phenomenal district. You're very well poised to attract the best and the brightest. And finally, we want to say thank you to the Board of Education and to the Katona-Lewisboro community for allowing us the opportunity to meet with all of you. Everyone was incredibly welcoming and wonderful. Debbie mentioned about your students. I had the great pleasure of sitting in the classroom with them. They were fantastic, and I really enjoyed my time. I hope they had as great a time speaking with me as I had with them. And we look forward to bringing you some incredible candidates over the next several weeks.
You know, we should also thank Kimberly for
We
for
definitely
all the
should
work
thank him.
that you have done during the search. It's a lot, and there's a lot to organize all those different focus groups, and so we just want to thank you, Kimberly, and for doing everything.
And we should let the board know, I think it was in record time.
Yes.
That
Oh, yes.
Kim had a schedule set up for us
Unbelievable.
to meet with everyone.
We're terrified of it.
Taken it. Maybe we shouldn't let them know that Kim had been able to do all that.
It was very impressive, and that's what allowed us really to stay on track with the timeline. Otherwise, we'd never have been able to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie and Sue. We really appreciate all the effort that you've put in. We've gotten really nice feedback about your interaction with our community members and how welcoming your conversations were. It really, I think, allows us to get good feedback, and people need to feel comfortable sharing with you what their hopes are for the district and their concerns. So thank you very much for everything that you have done. I don't know if my colleagues have any questions. We have lots to process, and certainly look forward to seeing candidates. I don't know if anyone has any follow-up questions. No, I think we're good. The process is very clear, and thank you very, very much for being here tonight and for everything you've been doing to help us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we are now very excited to welcome a presentation from our Sustainability Committee. We have volunteers and faculty joining us, so I know that some of our administrators are going to change out seats to bring everyone on. And I will turn things over to Julia to tee things up.
Kim, do you want to join
Yeah.
us? Oh, yeah, Mike, where's Mike?
Oh, Mike, you're coming. He's coming.
We didn't rehearse this part. Okay, thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. Andrew, would you like to begin the
Sure.
presentation, and I'll
I'd
pick
be-
up right
Be
from where you
happy
leave
to.
off?
Thanks, Julia. So this, Julia mentioned a moment ago, a presentation tonight from our Sustainability Committee. The truth is the work has grown so much in recent years that in addition to members of our Sustainability Committee, some of whom are sitting at the table tonight, we also have teachers, community members, and the work is, I think you will hear tonight that the work is now happening all across the district. So while it's true that our Sustainability Committee meets on a monthly basis and truly has to race through its agenda each month because there's so much that we're trying to hear about and cover and get done, we also know there's an enormous amount happening in the schools. We wanted to just give the board a sense tonight of why it is that we're presenting to you what we hope are the overall goals that you'll hear about, and then and any kind of feedback we might ask for you. So you see up on this screen two of what we, I think, would consider key goals in our work. Certainly the first one there being the one that our Sustainability Committee set last year, very ambitious goal of 85% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2040, which I believe is a full 10 years ahead of the state's goal to achieve the same goal. So we continue to chase that goal very aggressively. We think it's super important. And what I'll say next is that all of our goals are very much intertwined. So the next one you see, we think the education of our students as sustainable thinkers and problem solvers goes hand in hand with goal number one. And something that's not up on the screen is actually growing community awareness about all this work. We'll need all of those things to be happening hand in hand if we're going to achieve goal number one up there. We'll need our community's support. We'll need our students to become ever more committed to this work. And we know that the world will need our students to graduate on and continue this work if we're going to see the kind of difference in the world that we all hope to see. So we wanted the board to know that that's kind of the overall direction of this work. You're going to hear in much more detail tonight about some of the details about how the work has grown, where it's happening. We wanted you to hear the overarching goals so that you could know this is where the board's sustainability subcommittee is, its direction and where it sees the work going. And if you have questions or you have concerns about the direction you see it heading, we'd certainly want to hear about that tonight by the end. So my work's done now, and I can hand it back over to Julia. Thanks, Julia.
Thank you. All right, well, so we're going to begin with some introductions. I have a wonderful team of people sitting to my left, three of whom were completely responsible for the wonderful celebration outside. So Melissa, Jane, and Jim, thank you for your tremendous efforts and collaboration. Hard work, dedication, a lot of coordination, a vision and passion, and that really drives everything that you do. And it was wonderful to see so many members of the community and families and children and staff out together. Thank you. And I will let you all introduce yourselves right now. So go ahead, Melissa.
Good evening. I'm Melissa Brady. I am a staff developer for Sustainability and Stream in our district K through 12.
Hi, I'm Jane Emick, fourth grade teacher at Increase Miller, and I'm a Green Team advisor over there for grades 4 and 5, and I'm also a curriculum integration leader for sustainability in the elementary schools.
Yeah, I'm Jim Panzer, physics teacher here at the high school, also earth science teacher at the high school. I'm a KES grade 2-3 green team advisor because my daughter's on that team. So, and I'm also a sustainability curriculum integration leader for grades 6 through 12.
Hi, I'm Kim Rosenberg. I'm a community member of the Sustainability Committee, and I'm a parent. I have an 8th grader and then 2 little ones in preschool who will be coming into Increase Miller in the next couple of years.
Mike Lavoie, Director of Operations. I don't have a very long resume, but I participate in sustainability and happy to help all of these more educated folks with facilitating information in any way that I can.
You're an integral part of our team. All of you are, and Lisa Hurley, who you know as well.
Lisa Hurley, Assistant Superintendent for Business.
All right, thank you all very much. So just to set the stage a little bit further, these are the organizing principles that are going to organize our presentation this evening, and to the right are the themes. What you'll see with each of these is a growing interconnectedness between the three, which we're really excited about. This image is not new to many of you. You've seen it over the years, and that interconnectedness is something we really want to highlight this year. So as you can see, that will be evidence in curriculum, but also community and increasing awareness, and then the campus work that we've done in the past and are going to do is really impressive as well. This, you're going to see this again later on in the presentation, but gives you a sense, and we'll discuss it in more detail then, but it represents the key stakeholders in this district, and it provides a big picture view of the key components of our collaborative work together and how we're all very much connected in this network, and there's a lot of overlap. You're very familiar with our learning commitment wheel. And again, this grounds our work and gives us focus. Sustainability is one of the focal areas of our learning commitment. And so we're staying true to that and growing in it every day. To ground us, no pun intended on the Sustainability Committee presentation, but this is a common definition that you're familiar with or may not be, but this is the United Nations definition of sustainability. It's also the definition that we reference when we speak to our staff about sustainability. It is the definition that our keynote speaker referenced in November when Shani Munson, who is a consultant that we work closely with on all things sustainable, gave a keynote address during our superintendent conference. In that, he also explained the goal of sustainability education, which is to improve the quality of life for people, planet, and animals, economically, socially, and environmentally, now and in the future. And that's what the symbol on the left represents. I'd like to draw your attention, if you're not already familiar with it, or if you're watching from home and want to learn more, to our website, which contains a snapshot of the history of sustainability and all of our sustainable efforts up until this point. It communicates our achievements and will help provide current information as well. That's available through the department's curriculum and instruction, and sustainability is beneath that. Okay, so I just wanted to set the stage a little bit, and now we're going to dive right in. We're going to first speak about curriculum. And our theme, just to remind you, is that we're becoming increasingly systematic and inclusive, or sustainability is becoming increasingly systematic and inclusive in all of our work. I'm sorry, I keep having my back to you. This slide, next slide, represents how we support sustainable integration and development in our curriculum. It's the structure. So we talk a little bit about the curriculum integration leaders and the staff developer who are here this evening, what their roles are and how they support the staff in growing awareness and in improving their practice in this regard. We utilize a lot of different digital platforms, Schoology, Padlets, blogs. We do committee work together. You'll hear about that in a few slides. The superintendent conference days, keynotes, as well as workshops steered towards sustainability. And our sustainability leaders also led workshops, which is wonderful. I'm going to transition now to Melissa to provide a district-wide overview of sustainable education in Katona.
Thank you for indulging the extra PowerPoint in there. I'll just wait for you to get it started. I'll begin my remarks while that's loading. So good evening. We've put together some photos in this auxiliary deck to give you a broad sense of what sustainability education looks like in our classrooms, on our campus, and through enrichment opportunities in our community. It is our ongoing goal to find, recognize, celebrate, and support all initiatives, large and small. We have so much to celebrate, as I hope you saw tonight, as we work towards building assured sustainability and solutionary experiences that are experiential, relevant, and meaningful, and that continue to grow in scale and depth, so we can be sure that every student will experience education for sustainability in Katona-Lewisboro. After this overview, my colleagues Jane and Jim will share some of what you will see in greater detail in these slides. Okay. Oh, good. We're going to start with, Soup Day and garden planting in our schools, and this is our middle school garden, so the gardens are prevalent in our curriculum. Sustainability is also prevalent in the art program, K through 12, as evidenced by this repurposed bottle cap mural, which the students work on consistently, and then also exploring how to convert dried up markers into paint. Elementary artists also repurposed fabrics from unwanted clothing to create story quilts. Students experience many field trips and enrichment opportunities on campus and in the community. These photos show environmental education programming, which we have through BOCES. And there are also multiple connections to sustainability in our new K-5 Amplify Science curriculum, including the concepts of biodiversity and interdependence, key concepts of sustainability, energy, ecosystems, Earth's features, and systems. We are also connecting the curriculum to place-based structures and systems such as our wind turbines. And here are some photos of a book swap and rescue event at Increase Miller, and students with their new books, as well as a display of Earth Months and sustainability reading materials, and those are some wind turbine models that were enrichment opportunities. Students did research for persuasive essay writing, which was one of our breakouts tonight, featuring choice-based selections around issues of sustainability in grade 4. Sustainability surfaces as a theme in our science and stream fairs. At the middle school, students are experimenting with hydroponic agriculture and learning about trout as environmental indicators in the ecosystem. Students reduce single-use products through events like a water bottle challenge, which is currently running at JJMS. Here are some students exploring sustainability and the Sustainable Development Goals in grade 7 ELA. They're doing some critical thinking there as they sort the goals, and that was the start of their research and writing unit. Students across this grade level also explored the impact of climate change on humans across the globe through a climate mixer role play. Here's cafeteria composting and waste sorting, the middle school. We are also raising awareness constantly through bulletin boards in our school buildings. You'll see another from Jane in a little bit. Students at the high school are exploring cardboard as a building material, and our students, some of whom are here this evening, participate in Bedford 2030's Greenlight Awards. Presentations are this Sunday. High School World Language also presented this evening on their fast fashion projects and learning about a circular economy. This is the AP Environmental Science Pond Study, which Jim will speak to in greater detail. And every fall, the middle school and high school students go together to visit Hilltop Hanover Farm for a sustainable agriculture field experience, in which they work together and learn and really get down and dirty, which is really great. It's a wonderful partnership we have with them. We were very excited, as Julia mentioned, to feature sustainability through a keynote address at our Superintendent's Conference Day in November. And we continue to engage students and faculty in ongoing conversations and goal setting around these important concepts, including the interplay between our focus areas of social and emotional learning and diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. As you probably have seen through many of these examples and through the work tonight, that sustainability is really about working together to build and maintain a fair economy, a just society, and a healthy environment for everyone. And I feel so grateful to be part of this partnership. So
Thank you so much.
thank you. There you go.
Thank you, Melissa. Now I'll transition to Jean.
There we go. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. All three elementary schools are integrating sustainability into classrooms, grade levels, and school-wide events. And here are just some of the examples of some things that are going on. Upcycling has become a trend in our schools, which is the idea of making something new and valuable from something that would have been discarded or recycled. We have a few examples of teachers choosing to engage in upcycling in their classroom, as well as some other earth-friendly practices. In the top left, you're seeing fifth graders at Meadow Pond chose to use waste materials to create habitats for their classroom pets. Across all three schools, many teachers opted to introduce the idea of the upcycling to students for Valentine's Day. And you'll see that in the top center as students used old bags and containers to collect their cards in. We also have some curricular integration happening as well. Fourth graders across the buildings integrated their science unit on energy with ELA writing curriculum. In the bottom left, you're seeing some students that were practicing the craft of writing persuasively. They developed topic statements and organized persuasive essays about responsible energy choices. In the middle section, you'll see the Trash to Treasure art integration project at Increase Miller, which further messaged the upcycle idea with fourth graders creating beautiful art that celebrates the earth out of recyclable and used trash. You may have seen some of their beautiful work outside at the celebration. There's also intentional planning in the elementary schools to share the sustainability mission with the school community. At KES, the community enjoys their walk to school days, reminding students about earth-friendly choices. At Increase Miller, there is a school bulletin board focusing on sustainability and tips to be green with a message, we are all green together, building that sustainable community. We also enjoyed a shared reading experience with the book Thank You Earth in the month of November, supporting the school-wide theme of showing gratitude, extending that gratitude towards giving back to the earth. And finally, in the bottom right, there's currently a Green Team Challenge going on to rethink waste and create something new. During our school community assembly, this was challenged to all of our community members to join in this mission, and it was also extended to all of the elementary schools. The students are actually sharing their creations on a Flipgrid for all of the elementary schools, so we're trying to build the bridge across the different buildings. So we're happy to say that we're building a sustainable community together in our elementary schools.
Thank you so much, Jane. And for a secondary perspective, we'll go to Jim.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about what's going on at a secondary level. Just starting with some of the images, the top left, I mean, those kids in AP Environmental Science, they go to the rivers and water, like ponds and lakes around here, seemingly on a weekly basis. Those big giant boots they wear up to their hips are like a badge of honor. It's really like, it's a really good sight seeing them walk throughout the hallways, both coming and going. And then bottom left, that's the middle school teams with Anna Loeb and Jesse Weiss and Guy Amdor. They do a project about an island that's completely off grid and have students, try to decide how to actually make that happen. And they work with students across the high school as well on that. Top right, that's a project about a passive house, but that's not the passive house project that I do in environmental physics. That's the Mike Guarini's economics class. They try to figure out actually how much it would cost to build a passive house. And then the bottom right, some high level calculations for math class and science classes about whether or not you should, they're trying to determine the break-even point of how much carbon dioxide is released to make a new car versus how long you can drive your old car where that break-even point happens. So like actually making real life decisions. And in the middle is this a lesson plan put together by Krista Munger, relatively new science teacher here at the high school. Her idea is to have a pollinator pathway and to actually have signage going around both the high school and middle school campuses, all signage in multiple languages, signage about how the natural materials that are here were used by indigenous populations before the arrival of Europeans. So there's like history elements to it. And it's math elements to it because she wants to measure trees to see how much carbon sequestration is going to be, it can happen on campus. So it's lessons like that that are becoming more and more frequent. Like I've been teaching at this high school for 20 years, 21 years maybe. I don't know, I don't know, I can't remember now. So, and I've always found that teachers in our district are sharing of all their resources and lessons. I hear nightmare stories about other school districts where a teacher makes a worksheet and like, that's my worksheet, and they don't share it. And like, I can't imagine working in a place like that. We've always had a collaborative environment here. And in the beginning, 2 years ago, when I started this role, I felt, I didn't think I was an island, but I felt more or less more like we had islands of people. Like I knew like Melissa and Jane, but we were, kind of, working with sustainability, but like onto ourselves. And so we decided to work through students, like almost like planting, like the students were the seeds for growing this, to raise awareness with their own teachers of like how important it was to them to learn about sustainability. And that was a 2-year progress, as you can see, like this, and we'll speak to what we did with green teams coming up. But so my approach this year has been to work directly with teachers, like sharing resources like, hey, did you hear about this website here where you can get lesson plans and ideas and that kind of thing? And I started doing that initially in the beginning of this school year. And it's grown so much that now teachers are coming to me. Now I definitely don't feel like I'm an island whatsoever. Or that there's only just 3 or 4 of us and like, kind of only working in sustainability. There's so many more. I have like a little list here. I mean, Jen Trapala in business. I mean, if you'll indulge, Charles Morales Thompson and Christina D. Casola in social studies and aforementioned Mike Guarini. I mean, we got Trisha Gorman and Zach Miller at the middle school. We got Diana Nerwin with art. We got Steve Del Moro with health. In terms of like having students eat locally, source food and that kind of thing instead. And like, so it's healthy, yes, but is the salmon farm raised or is it ocean caught? Like having them make these kind of choices are amazing. And then we have, like I said before, the teams at the middle school with Anna Loeb having these, having her students do the Energy Island thing. And then Lisa Papernick, relatively new science teacher here at the high school, been instrumental. You might've seen some of her students presenting sustainability things right out in the hallway there. Nicole Muscio, as always, and Krista Munger, who did the pollinator pathway, brand new lesson plan that she shared with everybody. Mm-hmm. Like, she said, hey, look at what I made. I'm like, wow, it's awesome. And like, so I also shared it. So I'm sharing it with you, so it's that kind of collaboration that is just it's becoming more and more. And then we have like the English department. Oh my goodness, Jess Binney and Jill Hirschfeld and Vicki Weiss. They've now picked, I don't know if it's public yet, so I won't reveal the title, but they've picked the summer read to be a sustainability focused book. I don't necessarily know if I should say the title or if there's a big reveal for that, so I better not.
I'll go, moving on.
Yeah. So I know, is the music playing me off? So, again, KLSD has been always so collaborative, and now it's awesome to see teachers coming to me and sharing resources with me about sustainability that are new to me. And like that, wasn't happening for me, at least 2-3 years ago. And now it's I'm kind of getting it from all angles. And it's just really, really great to be part of this team, not just like the 1, 2, 3 team or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 team that you see here and 6 with Julia.
Thank you.
It's like, it really is the whole like community and like all the grade levels coming at me. It's amazing to see. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. So we've heard elementary and secondary, and this next slide describes the connections between the two, which is also really exciting.
Yeah, so not only is there sustainability education happening in the classrooms, but there's also collaboration across buildings and across grade levels. So one example we're going to share with you is between Jim Penzer and myself. We've been doing now for a couple of years now. So as our 4th graders at Increase Miller were learning about energy in science class, Jim Panzer's high school students were also learning about energy as well. So we collaborated and we planned an event where the high school students came to the elementary school. They had prepared presentations on the pros and cons of different forms of energy and presented them in person in small groups to our 4th graders. That was just such an amazing, wonderful event. But that one event led to more. So that activity led to a pen pal program that's going on between the 2 age groups, corresponding back and forth, investigating energy plans for a fictional town. Students shared the pros and cons of available energy sources, suggesting changes to the fictional town. So my fourth grade students wrote to the mayor of a fictional town, and those letters went to Jim's students at the high school, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, and my student mayors read their letters and responded to them and said what good ideas. And it was just such a nice thing to read what my high school students wrote to her kids, because, you know, my high school students, it was, for some of them, it was the first time that they saw themselves, it wasn't real authority, but then they realized that they're making their presentations to the fourth graders. The fourth graders saw them as these amazing, oh my God, people. And like, you know, it's important for high school students to know that they have that position already, because in a couple of years, they're going to be, you know, not, you know, in the confines of school anymore, and they might be holding positions, you know, that are very much leadership roles. So they took on this pretend leadership role and wrote back, and it was so encouraging what they wrote. And because like your letters from your students were so cute, and it was like they were like,
They mapped out the town.
yeah, they had a map, and it was really just, it was a fun thing to do. My students loved it.
Thank you.
Oh,
So
sorry.
speaking of students.
Right, speaking of
segue.
students, so there was more collaborations with the middle school as well. Oh, sorry, right,
No,
right.
go ahead.
Yeah, so, and by the way, my laundry list of teachers goes longer than I mentioned before. I don't want to
We
leave
only
anyone
give
out.
them
It's
small
just gonna have to
Post-its.
be what it is. You know, like Brooke Manika and Sam Thompson. But there's other collaborations with high school and middle school students as well, where the middle school teachers, I mentioned the project about that energy island. Anna Loeb's idea and Jesse Weiss's idea was to have some high school students come down and give them tips and tricks and pointers of what they can do to make the energy island actually, you know, potentially reality in the future. And that the plan is to go back and have more collaborations once the students down at the middle school are finished with their projects. So like these collaborations are like ongoing. You know, like, so like, it's not just a one and done presentation in an auditorium. It's more like along the way, students are teaching other students, and it's really great to see.
Thank you. So we'll segue to students on green teams.
Okay, so the number of green teams in our elementary schools is growing. So we now have 6 green teams in our 3 elementary schools, with at least 1 green team in every building. At Increase Miller, all 3 green teams, K to 5, collaborated on a plant propagation project. So you'll see some of the pictures on the screen. The newly sprouted plants will be gifted to every classroom in the month of April, which will serve as a reminder of sustainable, healthy practices for a beautiful, clean earth. At KES, we've got 2 green teams there. Here's a picture of Jim Panzer, the bottom left, with his students, and they were working on, I think you might have seen that outside of the celebration, designing the city of the future. Sounds so much fun. I think I'm gonna have to steal that idea for my green team. Also at KES, we've got Sharon Page and her grades 3 to 5 green team, and you may have seen them outside at the celebration with their podcast project. At the center in the bottom, we have Meadow Pond Green Team performing a waste audit, bringing attention and opening the eyes to the amount of waste created in our schools. It was eye-opening for them. All 3 elementary schools are working together to create building-wise awareness of sustainability goals and projects. We are seeing student-made projects and communication posted throughout the buildings, calling everyone into action and awareness. Here's a picture in the bottom right of my Increase Miller Green Team presenting at our March Assembly to the school with tips to be green and a call to action to make responsible choices in the cafeteria and in our lives. The Green Team is presenting again this month, challenging all students to accept the challenge to be green with a Rethink Waste challenge that I mentioned earlier, and that is a district-wide elementary challenge. Students will share pictures of their project on a shared Flipgrid with the other elementary schools. Once again, bridging the sustainability mission across the different elementary schools.
Thank you.
I'll take a moment to speak about the green teams at the secondary level. I neglected to say earlier, I'm a green team advisor at the middle school, and I've loved that position. Keeps me connected with the students, and many of them were here tonight with their passion and enthusiasm and energy. And it's wonderful to see my former students also now at the high school continuing their good work. So we do partner, the middle school Green Team and the high school Earthrise team do some things together, as the field trip I mentioned to you earlier. Here they are with their different initiatives on campus and in the community. The students really are the heart and soul of the work that we're moving forward. I really see that for sure. Thanks.
Yeah, and if I could just give
Oh,
a
yeah,
shout
please.
out to Melissa for like doing her work at the middle school level in the Green Team and fostering this kind of solutionary thinking has definitely been spiraled up to the high school, because our high school students on Earthrise are amazing with their initiatives that they're actually trying to with the Meatless Mondays, I'm sure you've heard of it, and trying to push that and actually become, solutionaries and actually, get something actually accomplished for real in the real world and not just in the classroom. And like some of those kids are here, like Luke Pinney and Austin Oman. And this won't be the last time you'll hear from them either. They're going to be the change makers of tomorrow, because they're the change makers of today. I just want to make sure that.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
Very
thank you.
well said. And some of them have come to our sustainability committee meetings, which Melissa's integral in planning and helping to run as well. So Melissa, you want to talk about this?
Sure. I'm really excited to share that our sustainability committee now includes not only faculty members, but we have some administrators on the committee, we have students on the committee, and we also have representation from all our schools, which is really nice. It's a good way for us to stay connected and spread the word. We have a goal. We continue to refine and revise how to make the best use of all the talent that we have on that committee. Some of the people that Jim mentioned earlier, like Jen and Sam and Lisa and Krista. So our goal is expressed there on the slide. We're focusing on increasing awareness and integration of sustainable practices in our schools and community. And I think Julie is going to speak to you a little bit later about some of the goals that we're working towards.
Thank you.
Okay. As a staff developer this year, I've merged from being a sustainability curriculum integration leader to now a staff developer. It's been one of my goals to increase our connectivity with community organizations, like some of the ones that we've seen here tonight. I just had such a positive experience with the educators at Hilltop Hanover and through BOCES, Bedford 2030, that it just seems right for us to work in partnership with those community organizations that are doing such great work. And so our engagement continues to grow through those relationships and connections and intervisitation at conferences. And tomorrow I'm going to an event that the Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation is running. And it's a good way for us. We'll go to Garrison in May. I'll bring a group of students there to see their sustainability celebration so that we can learn from each other. And as Jim mentioned earlier, to be collaborative and share these ideas with each other so that we can all benefit. And I think there's an event coming up in June, which I'm really excited about, where we'll bring all these groups together and work on creating that like a symposium for our partnership. So community is important, and Kim's here to speak to that as well.
Thank you. So you've heard a great deal about a large number of events and initiatives that take a lot of dedication and inspiration and hard work and stick-to-itiveness, as we say, all of which are wonderful. And we're looking to the future to try to create a vision for our future work as far as curriculum and instruction is concerned, to make it as deliberate and systematic as possible and focused. So we're working currently with Shani Munson, who I've mentioned earlier, to draft a potential 3-year plan for curriculum and instruction and sustainability, helping make a common definition that could be more consistently understood and operationalized throughout the district. So our hope is that by this time next year, we'll have something more substantial to show you as far as a future plan. It's in the works among all of us, as well as our sustainability committee, cabinet. So more to come on that. But that's what we see as our next step to further systematizing our work and being very deliberate in our approach.
So now we continue around our symbol. If you remember this from long, long ago when I first introduced it, now here we are going to speak about community. And to kick that off, I would love to introduce Kim. Thank you so much, Kim, for volunteering your time to be with us on both our committee and tonight. So thank you.
Sure, thank you. So if we go to the next slide, we will see one more. What I wanted to really cover tonight is it will basically be a summary of what we've already heard. So there are just so many key themes that we've heard over and over again tonight. Awareness, connection, collaboration, and the district is really doing this. And I think as a community member, sort of having the opportunity to come in and really see all of these things in practice and not just on paper is really incredible. And so as a committee, we really wanted to lean into that and continue to really build our engagement with the community, because that's how we move ahead and succeed toward our incredibly ambitious goal of being 10 years ahead of everybody else in our greenhouse gas reduction, right? So as I kind of came onto the committee, we started to think about, okay, there are so many things happening in the district. How do we get in there and really build that awareness broadly? So that how do we get into the green teams? How do we work with the faculty and really understand what's happening and make sure that it's a two-way street, right? How do we get in there and connect? So we're coming in, we're meeting with the faculty, we're meeting with the students, and we're really trying to establish that trust and that relationship that the committee can be there to be very supportive, to hear what they're doing, not just to raise awareness, but how do we further their efforts? And so that connectivity part is really important. There's so much we can do there. And we're really trying to put a little bit more structure around the committee's engagement with the broader KLSD community to be able to continue really building on that momentum and all of the great work that's being done. As we think about collaboration, this is really sort of the action item, right? So how do we think about telling that shared story? How do we think about presenting that, not just within the district here, but more broadly within the community, regionally? There's quite a bit of interest from other outside organizations into what the district is doing. We're certainly getting noticed in terms of the achievements. And so the opportunity, not just to further the district, but to further our neighboring districts, the broader community, regionally, that's really a great opportunity for us to continue to build the broader community engagement. And then, what are the various stakeholders objectives? If we go to the next page here, we're repeating this because it really all ties together. So how is the committee coming in and helping, right? So being a liaison to, support the students, to talk about, to bring these things to the committee. Students have the opportunity to come to the committee meetings. And so as we continue to really build this, we think it will really, really help as we continue marching toward these goals to be able to, not only be supportive of one another, but supportive of the broader community. So we're really excited about that. What I'm really looking forward to in the years to come is not only building on that, but really working together to have some shared goals, something that brings us all together, right? Bringing together different groups among the faculty and the students, and the committee and the community, we really think is what will help drive this forward and support the amazing work that's being done in every corner of this district. So I'm really proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you again, Kim. Now we'll turn for campus to my colleague Lisa Hurley and Mike Lavoie.
Yeah, so Mike and I are here to talk about the work that's being done on the campus. And just to start off, and we've spoken about already, a number of us, about the goals. So just to give us, an idea, there is what is the CLCPA, which is the Climate Leadership Community Protection Act, or the Climate Act, which has set the goals for the state. Those goals are by 2040 to achieve 100% zero emission electricity, as well as by 2050 to reduce emissions by at least 85% below 1990 levels. Here at KLSD, we actually began to purchase 100% of Green E certified REX energy, which is renewable energy, which is energy that has renewable energy certificates, and we began to purchase that in 2019. So our electricity here is actually right now is zero emissions, as well as, as has been said already, in May of 2023, the board adopted the goal to set that emissions at 85% for the year 2040, but actually our benchmark is of 2008, 2009 levels, which again is at a higher standard than that the state has set. So those are two big areas that we have set those standards. And we've talked about, a lot of times about GHG. I just wanted to like level set. So that is greenhouse gas emissions. So when we look at greenhouse gas emissions and the goals, there are 3 scopes within those goals. So there's a little visual here. It's kind of small, so it was hard to see, but so to speak to it. So scope 1 are those direct emissions that are from district operations, primarily facilities and vehicles. Scope 2 emissions are indirect emissions or emissions that are, Scope 1 emissions that come from other companies, such as our purchase powers, which I spoke about already, heating and cooling. And scope 3 are other indirect emissions, and they can be upstream emissions, indirect emissions related to purchase or acquired goods and services, or downstream emissions, which are indirect emissions related to sold goods or services. But for us, what that really are is emissions that are not under the organization's control. So those for us could be such things as employees, student, parents commuting, for example. So something that we don't have control over, but they have part of our greenhouse gas emissions as a district. So what is the district doing to reach these goals that we have set? So again, 100% fossil-free electricity. These are past as well as ongoing initiatives, ongoing capital planning that we frequent timing to look closely at the schedule of needed cooling and heating of the plant by doing such thing as replacing and installing AC outside of capital projects. So we have some AC coming going forward in our bond project, but we do that outside of our capital projects as well as using heat pumps with HVAC capability in all of our schools, and also using them for supplemental heating and cooling of our buildings, as well as, which we've seen already, the wind and solar powered, the RPUs, or the wind and solar powered lights that we have throughout our campuses. As we, composting, we have an elaborate building management system that, we really keep a close eye on temperature controls and raising and lowering those temperatures, in order to be most efficient and keeping them optimally set. This fall, we saw our EV1, as we call it, and as we saw earlier today, that our first electric school bus was purchased and deployed for this school year. We have designed commuter EV charging stations for the high school, middle school. Those projects are up at the State Education Department and the Department of Facilities up there for awaiting approval. We have, as well as we cyclically have an outside organization that does actually study and look at those 3 scopes of our greenhouse gas emissions and provides that to the district, the results of those studies to the district, as well as the Sustainability Committee. Our bond project we're excited about with the geothermal at KES, again, putting more of those mini split heat pumps in all of our schools and looking at our building's envelope. We have different standards that we have to comply with as far as the interchange of air inside and outside of our buildings, but we still try to do our best with complying with those. And so what we're looking at is replacing windows, and that project is already been approved at the middle school, as well as replacing windows at all of our buildings. Going forward, again, having the lofty goal for the 85% greenhouse reduction by 2040. New York State has mandated that all school districts have their full bus fleet electrified by 2035. So that is something that we are looking at in order to, reach that. We have, we're in the works, we have different proposals from different groups that can come in and help us plan and really do that in the most effective and efficient way. So we are just in the process of awarding looking at the best group to award that to look at how we can meet that goal of 2035 for full electrification, as well as, also looking at, we're required to have building condition surveys done of all of our buildings. And so now we also want to align what we have, the state mandates us with our broader sustainability goals, and looking at that through that lens as we look to improving our buildings. How can we continue to improve them from a sustainable place? So.
Thank you, Lisa. So speaking of past and future, we'll turn it over to Rory across the aisle. Rory, to explain our district CO2 emissions history and forecast. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. I would be remiss in not pointing out that the work of the Katona-Lewisborough School District with regard to sustainability started about 20 years ago in 2005. The district set up what they refer to as sustainability principles and set those forward. And a few years later, the Board of Education established a sustainability committee. Since that time, there have been numerous people involved, board members, faculty members, community members, many of whom just know so much about the sustainability topic and are just so expert in their field that have come to our assistance throughout the ages, and we'd be remiss in not thanking them. And three of them are sitting in the audience. Mark, Janet, and Steve, thank you guys. We appreciate all of your contributions to what we do here. Thank you. So way back in 2009, we started trying to gather how much greenhouse gas the school district emits in a given year. We set that number through a greenhouse gas inventory that we had conducted on our behalf. And we've done two since, with another one pending. I think I don't know if we can get it done this year or it'll be early next school year, but this year in 2024, we will have another greenhouse gas inventory. So what you're seeing on the slide here, the drops that are shaded in blue are indicating the greenhouse gas emissions that were recorded at three moments in time: 2009, 2014-15 school year, and then 2019. And so you can see a pretty steady drop off there. And that steady drop off was attributable to great work that was done by the school district. The first one was really around, we installed solar panels in 2010, and then there was an energy performance contract that we engaged with in 2013. So that's that first big drop that you see. As Lisa already mentioned, we went to 100% renewable energy in 2019. And so that's the second big drop that you see. And then the more complicated green dotted line there is an attempt to indicate where we need to get to establish our goal of 85% reduction since 2009 by the year 2040. That's an aggressive goal, but we didn't agree on it easily. So we spent a lot of time, and again, with great assistance from the community members, including the folks sitting here in the room, there was a lot of analysis conducted to try to figure out, how are we going to get there? It's one thing to say you're going to get there. It's a different thing entirely to actually get there. And so we had some really good ideas about what might bring us there. And we did some good math, I think. And essentially what we determined was that the vast majority of our greenhouse gas emissions are attributable to fossil fuel burning in our school districts for heating. I mean, that's probably 40% of the total GHG emissions. So we've got some old beasts of boilers sitting around here, one of which is going to be replaced because it's come to its natural end of life as part of the bond. Lisa already mentioned it, so we're installing a very state-of-the-art geothermal heating cooling system up at KES. And we're all very excited about the contributions that will bring and the greenhouse gas reductions that will bring. But of course, we have fossil fuel burning boilers in all of the other schools. But as they begin to meet the end of their lives, we will start replacing them, hopefully with geothermal, if not air-sourced heat pumps or other more efficient and sustainable heat sources. In addition to that, we are obviously starting to electrify our fleet. We do have EV1 in. I'm very optimistic that we'll have EV2 and maybe EV3 in the not too distant future. And we'll keep on replacing our diesel burning fuel buses with EV. We'll also start to replace the maintenance fleet over time is on the plans. And a combination of all of those things, so moving towards heat pumps, both geothermal and air sourced, as well as the replacement of the buses, we think will get us there over time by 2040. And we know the natural end of the life for the boilers that are here. So we've been able to sort of calculate the greenhouse gas emissions with each of those. And we're confident that we can get there. It's not going to be without some difficult work and some infrastructure costs perhaps, but nevertheless, we're committed to getting there, and we'll continue to work with the community to make it happen. We're very excited. So that's what that green graph is meant to convey there. That, you know, it obviously won't look like that when we roll in the actuals. We have some new actuals coming in. I'm excited to see them in the next few months, and we'll keep working hard to get to that 2040 goal. It's exciting. Thank you.
Thank you. And so we go back to our image from earlier to just, again, demonstrate the interconnectivity between all of these groups. And again, I would like to echo Rory's words to thank everybody who has volunteered to be part of the Sustainability Committee. It really is impressive. I feel very fortunate to be in a district with such generous community members who are willing to share their time and talents and knowledge with all of us. So we have very educational committee meetings every so often. And that brings us to the end of our presentation for this evening, and we're free for questions.
Thank you so much to Julia for organizing everything, to everyone here. Also extend our thanks to the committee members, all of the committee members, some are here. You know, we did mention 3 who are here, and I just also want to make sure we don't leave out Garish Bahal and Steve Lichten, Megan Oliver, who are also part of that community members on the committee. And I think, you know, it's so important to engage the community when we look at, we talked about scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. And scope 3 is really where the community supporting this comes into play, because those are all things that are outside of the direct control of the district, but are opportunities for our community to really join us in trying to work on some of these activities. And the students are so enthusiastic about their role in that. And I think we'll be a great resource to us in that work. So thanks to all the students who are here. Thank you. And for, you know, all the work you guys are doing. We know how hard you're working on it, and it's great to see both your research and also your efforts. So thank you very much. I don't know if people have questions or, it's not, we don't normally take questions from the community, but during public comment, if you'd like to make a comment, we'd welcome you to join us at the podium. So
I think that was a fantastic and inspirational overview and presentation. So I'll just reiterate the gratitude and thank you to everybody. I think from several of you, if not all of you, we heard the word systemic and comments around the traction and sort of, if I can say, like the flywheel effect that has really taken hold over time, which is what we had hoped to see. And it's, again, truly inspirational. So really, thank you. A couple of thoughts occurred to me that I'll just share. So the New York State School Board Association annual conference is coming back to New York City in the fall, and it just feels like such an amazing opportunity. You talked, Kim, about like national or state level organizations and how to perhaps share the great work and raise awareness. And I don't know if anybody would be interested, but I think we have so much to offer our counterpart school boards and school districts. I don't think very many school districts have work that is supported at so many levels of the district. I think that might be unique, and just you know, we could share our history and case study of how we got to where we are now, and also looking to the future and hearing about your future plans. So that was something I just wanted to share that came to mind, that there's just so much opportunity for other school districts to learn from what we're doing. And then also to just, you know, plant a seed around applying perhaps for green ribbon status, since we are also a New York State public school. And that's another way to just share our great results and our great work with the state of New York. And again, they can then point to us as, you know, a lighthouse for other school districts. And I noticed in looking back that the application opened in April and closed in November, like right around this time for this year. So this would be around the time that the application opens, and we would have until November to do it. And so I just wanted to share that thought. And I had one very, you know, technical question inspired really by Rory's overview of the graph. And I'm just wondering, you know, what, if any, is our next opportunity for an energy performance contract? You know, is that something that we enter into again? You know, just if you can remind us in terms of where we are with the status of our EPC, or if that's something we're talking about as one more arrow in the quiver to achieve that long-term goal.
I think we can say for now, it's something that we are talking about. We actually have a sustainability meeting coming up Friday. We're actually going to talk a little bit there. It's relatively new on the agenda. The status of the previous EPC is that it's complete. We're still benefiting from the savings of it. We benefited so much from the savings of it that we actually didn't need to maintain the monitoring of it that was in place, because we were exceeding, I think, what was promised. There's actually some cost associated with continuing to have the monitoring that we didn't need. So it's always an opportunity to introduce another EPC, and we see an opportunity on the horizon, but it's early days in talking about it, but we are going to begin those.
Thank you
Friday.
so much. Thank you.
I just want to say it was so exciting tonight to see the excitement from the youngest members to share and their articulate sharing of all of the information. It was really a fantastic thing to see, and kudos to all of the educators. In the collaborative nature, to me, you know, I think in so many other places in the world, sustainability is always seen as a science focus, but to hear how your colleagues are using it in math and English and history, it's just a very exciting thing to see, and such an important thing that we need to do for our community and our earth. That just thank you for all of the work that you put in. It really shows your passion for this area, so thank you. Oh, and we are all going to prison, apparently, because we drove here. That was very cute.
That was my daughter's
It was great, though.
She was very clear about it.
She was very clear about
I
that.
almost took my keys away.
I'll let her know.
But it was impactful. It made you stop and think. It's, you know, what are you doing to your planet by driving, you know, gas guzzling cars? But, and to see it come from somebody so young, it was neat.
It was her idea. I didn't say, hey, you should make a prison in the city of the future where kids go. It's all her.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that idea that our students are going to lead us forward into doing this in a new way. And I want to also commend our educators who are bringing this cross-cutting concept that we've talked about in the curriculum to life in so many ways here. And that was very inspiring to sort of see it step out of the classroom and into the space here, and was like having a student come up to me and ask me to scan the program rather than hand me a program. And then all of the different activities and thinking about that. So it's really inspiring to think that and to see it both as an educational, but also as a social change at work that's being done in the district. And I'm curious, you know, as Julie was mentioning, the sort of the third area, what if there's a call from the committee or from the schools for the community, a call to action for the community or other opportunities for community engagement beyond kind of like just focused at the school, but is this going to kind of reach out more than just directly through us hearing about our students when they decide to tell us something or coming to something like this? Sure, I can comment on that. So I would say that as we talked about community engagement over the course of the past few months with the committee, we always came back to it starts with the students, right? So we help keep our students engaged. They sort of go out to their parents and their families and the broader community. And that really helps to build, I think, when you start with the students. The other thing that we found is because our students are so engaged even outside of the schools with their other extracurriculars and the other amazing organizations that they're part of, they really can help, establish that connectivity back to the district. And, as you mentioned, Marjorie, being able for the district to engage then and talk about what we've done and sort of build that awareness, we feel like it really does kind of build from there.
And I'd like to just make a comment as well. I'm looking at Austin sitting there in the chairs. If you asked Austin, I think I could name maybe 3 of the 6 or 8 outside organizations that he connects with, Bedford 2030 being one of them, Westchester Green County. You mentioned Northern Westchester Hospital. He's so involved, and I know many of our students are, in these outside community organizations, as Kim mentioned, that the sharing of what they're learning here, whether it's skill-based or concept-based, in practicing it in their lives outside of school as well as in school, is, I think, one of the most exciting things to see, because that's the purpose of education, right? Is to give students transferable skills and aptitudes that they can then use in the real world. So I know that Austin is an exceptional student, but there are many students, as you saw tonight, who, a 6th grader that came tonight, she was in charge of the spirit wear swap. When she was like, but Mrs. Brady, can I also go to the Bedford 2030 event on Sunday? I can bring my trifold. And I said, absolutely. So I think it's giving them the opportunity to see that they have a voice, to make an impact. They want to keep doing it. And as you can see, as the students continue to mature and grow, and then they just bring that reach further. So I agree that one of the things that Kim brought, this was the other point I wanted to make, I'll be brief. Kim came to our sustainability committee meeting to talk about scope 3. And Julia mentioned at one of our committee meetings as well that scope 3 is an area where students can really make a difference, because that's where the advocacy and the habits and the responsible choices really fall. And so that's some of the work that we're looking at doing through our student green teams and through our community work.
I think I would just add to that, like a couple of years ago, we recognized that there was just very little awareness around what we were doing. And to that end, we have now added the sustainability page to our website. I'm not sure how many people go there, but there's a lot of really good information about what we're doing. And we are trying to generate more of an awareness campaign so that people get excited about all of the good work that's being done here. Like, we've talked for probably an hour or more here tonight, and there's lots more behind everything that we've discussed. And I do think that sort of just building some awareness, part of which is through kids going back home, but I think that we also have a responsibility to push that out to the community. I'll also say, I know that Austin and some other students are involved with the town of Lewisboro. We talked about Bedford 2030. I saw a great photograph with Ellen Calvez, who's a big supporter. I see Councilman Dan Welsh here tonight, and I'm sure he'll come up to the podium from the town of Lewisboro. So there are people involved that we have an opportunity. And so when we saw that list of who we're engaging with in the community, I envisioned that list growing and growing and growing over the coming years. I mean, I really think there's a big opportunity to engage with others.
Great. Thank you again, everyone, for everything that you're doing and for being here tonight and staying until 9:15. And we really appreciate it and always look forward to hearing from the committee again. Thank you, Rory, for chairing it and keeping us all on track in our meetings, which are very, very busy. The taskmaster at the meetings, it's hard. And really, thank you very much for everything you're doing. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'm going to just put public comment in front of board committee reports, one more thing in front of it, which is item 11.01. And Luke, are you still, Luke was on the public comment, but then his name disappeared. So, oh, I'm skipping something. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I actually had it open on my computer too, so I wouldn't forget. Sorry, we have one more item. 10.03, so on the upcoming budget vote, we have an opportunity to add some headers on the resolution. So at the last meeting, we had a discussion about the resolutions and the fact that there are 4 resolutions this year, which is more than the community is accustomed to seeing, and that maybe there would be an opportunity for us to provide headers. Kim was able to confirm that in fact we can put headers into the ballot. And so there is 4 proposed headers for us to think about. And we just wanted to talk about them tonight and make sure that we, we felt like they were appropriate and that they sort of convey what we need them to convey. Like I said, I had them open on my computer so I wouldn't forget them, and I've since closed them. So I'm just gonna, give me 1 second. So the first is the budget resolution, which is the most straightforward, obviously. And so the header for Proposition 1 would just be 2024-2025 school budget, as usual. Proposition 2 would read vehicle replacement, existing funds from the 23-24 budget. Proposition 3 would read vehicle replacement, existing funds from the 22-23 budget. And then finally, Proposition 4 would read apply Inflation Reduction Act rebate to bond project.
Just wonder if we need the word approve. So existing funds approve from, so that people understand that it's upfront, that it's already approved. I don't know. That just hit me now. I thought it was fine earlier, but now I'm wondering if
Are you talking about number
Previously
3?
approved.
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Well, 2 is not approved because we'll be approving 2 this year. So it is actually, it's Proposition 3
is
is
the one that we need.
previously approved funds, existing funds.
Because there's a distinction between the two.
Right, you could add in number 3, existing funds approved from 23, previously approved. Getting a little long is the worry, but yeah.
I wonder if we could add a verb in for 2 and 3, just like the last one says apply. For in Proposition 4, it's clearly was apply inflation reduction rebate to bond project. For 3, could it be use existing pre-approved funds from
Are we voting on
this
this tonight?
4?
Is this on for tonight?
Yes.
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
Because then if we're going to wordsmith, we got to
Yeah, we got it.
wordsmith it and update it.
I think for number 3, I have a suggestion that might be very simple to address the difference between number 2 and number 3. If we replaced the word existing and simply referred to those funds as pre-approved funds. So it is true that they're existing, but I don't think existing adds that much in terms of differentiating it from what we're saying in number 2. So it would just be a very simple replacement of pre-approved funds from the 22-23 budget.
Would it be even like sort of is the wording maybe previously reserved funds? Is that because they're not reserved,
they're
right? Yeah, they're
transferred,
transferred.
yeah,
Shoot.
transferred to
Okay.
capital,
Yeah.
I mean, I like Eleanor's idea. I mean, what we're asking for is the ability to use the funds.
Right.
So I think there does have to be a, somewhat convey that we're moving it from pile A to pile B, but we need your permission to do that. So
It's not new money.
it's not new money, so use existing, I don't know the right word, but somehow convey that we have the money. This is not going to raise your taxes. So
Is this not the verbiage we use every year? for
We
property?
We
haven't
don't
had
normally
titles in
put
the past.
titles because there's just sort of the standard 2. It's the budget and the buses. But now because we have 4, just feels like a lot of language. Like it would normally
eliminate
just be
one.
like paragraphs of wording.
Yeah, it does bear explaining. I mean, those propositions, I think, are not
Thank you for
self-explanatory.
looking into this. I think even
Yeah.
if we left it alone, this would be an
Yeah.
improvement
Right.
over no titles. So thank you. And then it's just a question of whether, you feel we need to modify them at all.
So
Permission to use something?
Do we think that by modifying it, that people will be more likely to either vote it up or down, or Is it
just
a
clarity on
word?
what
Just to understand what it
Yeah.
is.
But the actual proposition is there to
Yes,
read, right?
correct.
This is just the title.
Yes.
I think it's like adding plain language into anything. It's more descriptors or a heading. It's helpful as a
Well, no, I
touch
think it's a
point.
good idea to put titles. I just,
Yeah.
I mean, these titles seem reasonable, and then you
Okay.
have the whole proposition to read right there.
Right, you read it
I'm
right
not sure
below.
they need change, to be honest.
So, okay, so can we just, Ilana has made a suggestion that we say, we put a verb in. I think you're saying
Use, like
use
for
or
3, use previous, is it previously approved funds from 22-23? Use previously, I don't know if this is too long. Use previously approved funds from the 22-23 budget for vehicle replacement. And then 2 would be approve funds from the 23-24 budget for vehicle replacement.
Oh, yeah.
Or don't approve.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess, I don't know if we're allowed to use the word approve because it's, right? It's really apply, I
Well-
don't think we can because it's their
apply.
choice to approve or not approve, so it's
So
apply.
I mean, it's apply for both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, so it's apply.
Yeah.
Okay, so instead of just vehicle replacement, can we just say apply previously approved funds from the 22-23 budget so put vehicle replacement at the back. So it would just say apply existing funds from the 2023-24 budget for vehicle replacement, and then apply previously approved funds from 22-23 budget for vehicle replacement.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Good. Right, Kim, do you want me to read it again for the resolution? And do we need to approve this as a resolution? No, because we approved the budget and the resolutions are part of that. Okay. Okay. All right. So, great. Okay, sorry. So I didn't mean to skip that. So we are to public comment. And is there anyone that wanted to speak? Austin, did you? Oh, so you want to stand in for the Meatless Monday? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. And so let me just, Austin, just to give you, no, come. But so during public comment, it's really just an opportunity for you to share thoughts or concerns or interests about anything, and specifically about tonight. We don't engage in back and forth during public comment, so it would just be your opportunity to speak to us and share your thoughts, and then we're happy to listen. Okay.
Or maybe we'll talk to me like after on the question I had. I just had a couple, like 2 questions on the measurement, like how we measured.
Austin, sorry, can you just make
Oh,
sure
make
you're
sure you're at the
speaking
mic
into
so
the
that they can hear
microphone?
you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, I mean, my first question, yeah, it's a question, but I understand the last measurement was made like around 2018, 2019. Do we know how much that like costed, and who was the outside provider who provided it to us? Because like what tools did they use to quantify our scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions?
Great, and you can go sit next to Steve Weissmuller and he'll fill you in. We'll allow for a sidebar. Great. Janet, did you want to speak or, okay, sorry, Janet Harkin. And then Dan, okay. You know the rules, Janet.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janet Harcum. I had 2 children in the district. They're both old. You guys, that was free. Oh, yeah, that was amazing. It's gonna say something not appropriate, but it was so incredible. It deserves extreme language. Seriously, I'm shocked that it is so integrated in such a way that the education is now part of the process. And it was Karen Benedict who said she would put in an education framework way back in 2005 that never arrived. And it's really something to see now. And it is like a feedback loop now, because everyone wants to get in on the action, because the children, the education is relevant and it's memorable, and they will continue to find relevant uses for it as they leave Katona-Lewisboro, because Katona-Lewisboro is really head and shoulders above the other districts and above some higher education. It's really quite amazing. One thing I wanted to mention was just in terms of educational opportunities is utilizing the new capital plans for educational purposes in an intentional way. It's a perfect opportunity to use that education for the children to learn what it is we're doing and how we're changing and why we're changing in all sorts of areas. And secondly, there's one thing we have sort of always tiptoed around, which is procurement. And if you are looking at your procurement in terms of what you're actually purchasing for your building, what the renovations and the whatever you're doing, that being intentional about life cycle analysis of those things is also really important and also useful for educational purposes. So like you have a pollinator pathway that would talk about native plants and pollinators and the ideas behind why you have a pollinator pathway. It would also be a wonderful tool to be able to educate students as you're creating this, facility of the future, to let them know what is a low flow sink, what is a daylighting, what is, people know what solar panels are, but they don't often know the smaller technologies that are really bringing teachers to school more often, kids to be sick less, air quality flow, all the stuff that we're doing and that the students could benefit by. So that would just be as you get deeper and deeper into this, there's more and more to do. But it's wonderful what you are doing, and I applaud you all so strongly, and I can't thank you enough for your continued work and efforts on behalf of actually the planet.
Thank you. And Dan, did you want to speak? Can come up, introduce yourself to the room, and again, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Dan Welsh. I'm a board member with the town of Lewisboro. And first of all, just to echo what everybody said, it was an amazing presentation you guys do. It's overwhelmingly wonderful what you guys are doing. And so my first thought was, any chance somebody from the team could come in front of the town, do a 10-minute overview presentation, talking about outreach and everything. I think it, for folks on the board who are focused in their little sphere of activity, it would be quite eye-opening and just another channel for getting the word out about the great stuff you're doing. So that's a thought. And then also just to say, I had a wonderful time before this session and talked to a couple of the young folks, and echoing the comment that a lot of the work they're doing is very real world. So I spoke to one young lady who's going to be interning this summer with a firm that does some work on alternative aviation fuels. And I happen to have a colleague at Sustainable Westchester who's been doing that for years and is a pilot himself. And so I'm connecting them. And then the other young lady was working on concrete alternatives. And so she's going to be getting in touch with us in the town, and we'll see what we can do there. So it's all great, and I'd like to help. Just let the town know. Great stuff.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone who hadn't signed up that wanted to speak? Yeah, go ahead. If you could just introduce yourself to the room, that'd be great.
Hello. Is that-
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Luke Pinney. I am a co-director of Meet This Monday with my friend Ossa Doman. I came to you, I guess, to talk about Meet This Mondays. I had a question beforehand, and a long-standing question of why we didn't measure the impact of our food in our cafeterias as a part of greenhouse gas emissions. And one of the committee's members did answer that, saying that they weren't initially evaluated in the 2009 baselines, so therefore we don't do that in the future. I personally think, and have some studies to back it up, that despite it being difficult to evaluate how much of an impact our food has on the world, it does still account for a great number of greenhouse gas emissions within our school, especially compared to those lower end contributors that we saw in the meeting last year with those bar graphs, such as paper waste and such. I know you recognize our efforts with Meatless Mondays, and I guess we have seen a bit of student pushback from Meatless Mondays, and I know you emphasized a culture of change at our school, trying to establish that. So I don't think you guys answer questions, but I would like to prompt you to think about how to establish a culture of change. I guess you do that through the curriculum quite a bit. Yeah, that's it really. I don't know what yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luke. Thank you. Again, thank you to both Austin and Luke for staying for the entire presentation, and we really appreciate your feedback and your thoughts. So thank you so much. Okay, and now we are going to go back on the agenda to committee reports. So
Do you want me to go?
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
The Sustainability
I
Committee.
guess, yeah.
We meet again on Friday.
Right,
Keep
yes.
up the work.
I don't know, Lorraine, you wanted to report out? or-
JD Lane Lewisboro, we had our first meeting with some amazing community members, and thank you to our administrators who were in attendance. A lot of really thought-provoking questions were raised. It's going to be a difficult challenge. We're meeting again in about 2 weeks. We've asked the community members to go home and, based upon the background information we gave on the two buildings, to think about some potential solutions that they may have, and to continue the dialogue, and hopefully to be able to report back to you by the end of May on some recommendations. But it's not going to be an easy road. And thank you to Marjorie and Julia for being there and providing a lot of the historic information on what's been done in the past and looking at the issue.
Thank you. I don't know what other committees have met since the last meeting.
I'll report out from the Facilities
Sure, great.
Committee. So at the March 14th meeting, we had shared the great news that we recently received SED approval of our plans for Increase Miller and Meadow Pond Elementary Schools. These projects have since gone out to bid, and I think last week a pre-bid walkthrough was held, and we saw a good showing of contractors who are asking questions and interested in the projects, which is great. And the bids are due back, I think, around the end of April. KG&D and Lisa Hurley's colleagues continue to report that bids are coming back significantly higher than anticipated, which we've also been talking about. And in preparation for this likelihood, we convened a meeting with the leadership team from John Jay High School last Wednesday, April 10th, to review a couple of proposed cost-saving modifications to some of our drawings and plans. And on Thursday of this week, April 18th, we're looking forward to convening the KES focus group. We've also invited KG&D and Triton to join us at our board meeting tentatively on Thursday, May 23rd, for an update to the board and the community, because by then we're hopeful that we will know what construction we can expect to begin this summer, which will be very exciting. And I think that's it between the last time and this time. Thank you.
And the Finance Committee met, and we're continuing to do a little bit of a deeper dive into thinking about our health insurance, and sort of trying to figure out what the trend line is doing, and you know, what is available to us to think about for future options. And we have created and submitted a request for proposal for pre-K, and are hoping to get some proposals back. think that's it for committee. Great. Okay. Great, thank you, everyone. So we are at the consent agenda, and I'm not aware that there's anything that needs to be pulled out of the consent agenda. Would someone like to move it? Moved by Bill R, seconded by Bill S. All those in favor?
Aye.
7-0, great. And then we do have an opportunity to recognize a donation. This is item 17.01 on the agenda. This is a donation from Joseph and Carrie Sindelar, and it's a monetary donation for the, we actually approved this last board meeting for the class of 1977 scholarship, and it's a donation in the amount of $1,500. So someone would like to make a motion to approve. Motion by Rory, seconded by Lorraine. All those in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Great. And then we have an opportunity to take a look at future meetings. It's a little bit of a long list, so bear with me. On Friday, we have a sustainability committee meeting at 8:15 in the district office. Then the following Friday, April 26th, we have a policy committee meeting at 9 a.m. in the district office. The Friday after that, we have another sustainability committee meeting. That's the MAKE Sustainability Committee meeting. On Saturday, May 11th, there's special voter registration at the district office from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that is available for voter registration for the upcoming vote. We have our annual budget vote and election on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. Tuesday, May 21st, we also have a finance committee meeting that night at 7 o'clock. We'll have to be done in time for the results. And Thursday, May 23rd, we have our next Board of Education meeting here in the library at 7:30. And then the Friday, the following week, on May 31st, we have a policy committee meeting at 9 o'clock in the district office. So I'd like to make a motion. I have to look at my email for the, hold on. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to go back into executive session. Can you tell me what the language is, Kim? I'm sorry.
AA.
Okay, so it's negotiations pertaining to KLAAS. Can someone make a motion? I'm making a motion, seconded by Bill S. All those in favor?
Aye.
7-0.
Thank you.